So this year we decided that we're going to continue the life of the car and take a look at some of the support functions that we missed the first time. So looking at some of the groups that help the people on the front lines sell our cars and help us be a successful company. So today, due to popular demand, we have VCI here to explain a little bit about what they do, how they fit into the company, and how they interact with our customers. So I'm glad to announce Patrick Clifford from VCI, and thank you all for coming again.
All right, are we on? You hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. 1981. I'm not going to ask who was born before 1981. Okay, 1981, VW Credit Inc. founded as a wholly owned subsidiary of Volkswagen Group of America. In fact, at that time, I think we were called Volkswagen of America. And we were a private label of Chrysler Financial Services. Ironically, my boss now, Mike Meyer, Senior Vice President of Sales, he started with Chrysler, I think, in 1982, and he used to buy paper and collect on Volkswagen loans and leases when he was with Chrysler. So talk about a small world, we all find out through our careers. Fast forward to 1991, when I joined the company. My name is Patrick Clifford, and I love our company. I've done lots of stuff within our company. The last 11 years with VCI here in Herndon, moved out and transferred to the US headquarters from Detroit. Prior to that, spent a little bit of time with Bentley in sales operations. Prior to that, my first experience with VCI was in Portland, Oregon. We've got a service center out there with about 250 people out there. It's magnificent. We opened it up in 2000. Prior to that, I was with our VCI Academy, Audi and Volkswagen sales and service training. And then the first 7 years did various field roles with Audi and Volkswagen throughout the country. So good stuff. I think I've come to appreciate the many dimensions of our company and love being here. So thanks for the opportunity. Let's do a little do you know. Sort of ponder these questions because at the end, prizes of unspeakable value will be given out on a completely random basis to what is that, six lucky folks. So what do we have here? How many loans and leases do we service or are active in the portfolio today, and what do they total, dollars wise? How big is VCI? How many dealers finance their inventory with us? Ducati. What's up with Ducati, right? Ducati's not even here in Herndon. Certainly from a brand standpoint, they're out in Mountain View, California. But Ducati Financial Services since 2013 has been a part of VW Credit. And be curious to, anybody knows how many dealers and how many of those dealers finance with us? Then you may know the answer to that last question already. So if you do, keep that in your pocket and we'll see. So life of a loan, life of a car series. Well, if you're joining VCI, you would participate in orientation. And that orientation, you see this map, is the life of a loan. So it's about a half a day class, and it helps you take our new employees, whether they're starting at the service center, here in Herndon, out in the field, anywhere, sort of all the different dimensions. We're going to focus here on the life of a car, really at the dealership. So I'm going to take you on a little zig here. The dealership, because there's a couple of dimensions of our business that I've found that when I try to describe what I do within VCI or a big portion of our business, a lot of people don't necessarily consider that. It's often that the only thing it's considered is the 1.2 million account holders that we've got loans and leases with Audi, Volkswagen, Ducati, new and used. So you tend to think of that versus what's all the things that lead up to that. So I'm going to try to maybe inform you on a few things, and then hopefully I don't take more than 10 or 15 minutes and we can do some questions. But first, a word from our sponsors. We've got three or four sort of investor presentation slides, right? So what's our vision? Our vision is to be the key to mobility. Many of you may know Horst Weiner, our CEO. He's never one to set goals that are low. He likes to set moonshots. So he's looking out 5-6 years saying what's going to be said about VCI, the captive for these great brands, Audi, Volkswagen, Ducati, and others that we have. What's going to be said about us that we reinvented automotive financing? Does that sound sexy? Yeah, it does. Roger, thank you. Keep those coming. I need it. And we go, mobility, what is mobility? Truthfully, we're still figuring that out. If you look over the landscape of everything that's happening now with subscription services and electric cars and features on demand and things our various brands are looking at, we know there's lots happening, and one thing we can't do is stay still. So lots and lots of efforts on how us as a captive can support dealers and brands in growing in these new areas of the business that are honestly still evolving. Regardless of what those features look like, our mission is to drive the profitable and sustainable growth of the VW Group. We're an important source of profit for the group. We borrow most of a good portion of the funds for the group. So a treasury function, we're very close to the group. So you can imagine the amount of cash it takes to originate loans and leases. It's substantial. So sustainability, extremely important in our role on the brand side. What we find is that when consumers finance or lease with us, really when they purchase that vehicle, they're far more likely to come back and get another one of our group vehicles than if they go through another lender, like a Bank of America, a credit union. Think about it. If you finance the Bank of America, all Bank of America cares about is you come back and just borrow some more money. Finance a refrigerator, a house, get a credit card. All we care about, come back in another car. Come back, get another Volkswagen, Audi, that's it. Sole focus, and it tends to work pretty well. Finally, our strategy, we compete on service. We certainly don't compete on price. My friend Rob Tubman over here once told me that banks borrow money from me and you, and we borrow money from banks. Think about that. We'll never be the low-cost provider. So we've got to compete on service. And we've got 3 customers: group brands, dealers, and retail customers. Let's go on the lower right as you look at it. Retail customers, if we enhance the experience, we're doing well. That means we have a good experience. We have lots of contact with that customer throughout the life of their loan or lease. Market Volkswagens, Audis, whatever it may be. And as we get more sophisticated with cross-sell, that can retain more of them. Of course, with your group brands, through our premium, we've got to retain more of them. That's our value proposition for being a higher price. In dealers, we want to be easy to do business with. It's just like consumers. Dealers have choices on who to do their financial services business with, be it inventory financing or where they refer a customer to for financing when they purchase that vehicle. What do we offer? We really have 3 categories of products that we offer as financial services. There's retail, there's commercial lending, and then there's protection services. And quickly, the retail side, that's what we only do programs, 1.9%, various things like that. It's traditional loans and leases. We do balloons. That would be sort of a final big installment. Do at your balloon for Ducati. We also do lots of used car business as well. We originated last year, we originated about 90,000 used car contracts. That was pretty good. It's about half of the certified cars that were sold throughout the Audi and Volkswagen networks we financed. We think that does well for, again, repetition, bringing back in. Commercial lending, we're going to focus on that in a minute, because if you're a dealer, you need cash. Show of hands, who's worked in any kind of dealer-facing role in the room? A handful. Okay, there. Okay, cool. Well, you might find this interesting, because I really want to focus in on that, because it's one of those things. As we all drive by Lindsay Volkswagen, don't we? They have a couple cars out front. They tend to have cars stacked on top of each other. They're talking with wraps on, right? They do a great job. They sell a lot of cars, make a lot of customers happy. Well, if you look there, what do they probably have? 300 cars on the ground, I reckon, at any one time, plus used cars. For all we know, they've got 500 cars sitting on the lot. Michael Lindsay own those cars? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. VCI owns those cars. So a dealer has a line of credit. It's called a floor plan line. That's the fancy name for a line of credit, how you finance your inventory. Then the reason, or let me ask you this, why would a dealer not want to, if there's 500 cars out there, let's say that's $20 million worth of inventory. Why wouldn't a dealer just want to pay cash for those cars? Because of money. What do you mean? Who's got 20 million? Yeah, exactly. Most dealerships are not that liquid. You're exactly right. There's a scant few, and they generally stay under the radar. But yeah, they use a line of credit. So on average, for an average Volkswagen, a dealer's probably, in our portfolio, a dealer's probably paying about 5% interest. Right? When you look at the way interest would be calculated, about 5% interest on a vehicle. Average Volkswagen is about $27,000. So I would bet an average new car sitting on that lot for a month cost the dealer about $100 just to sit there. We can start doing the math on that. That sure beats having 20 million outlays. Right? Still pay some money to do that. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So we do real estate loans, construction loans, mortgage loans. We know our brands. We like to represent, have ourselves represented well. Look at Audi, Audi terminals, Volkswagen white frames, and so on. They're significant investments. We finance those. Floor plan financing. We do about half the dealers, half the rooftops. We finance about 60% of the new car sales that we finance. About $3 billion outstanding inventory at any one time. Working capital lines. I know Audi, for example, just came out with the e-tron. And so dealers to upgrade their facilities with chargers and various bits and pieces to support the sale of that vehicle, probably cost about $100,000 if done right. So again, would a dealer just want to stroke a check for $100,000? No. Make it convenient, let's finance those things, make it simple. And we do capital loans that could fall in either category. Finally, on the far right, protection services. That's the insurance business. Vehicle service contracts, gap, tire and wheel, things like that. A huge source of fee income. That's always good for your financial ratios if you got any financial folks in here. It's also great to help customers avoid the perils of ownership. And it's a great profit center for dealers as well. So we can do a whole life of a car just on protection services. Come back next time for that. Okay, let's get back to the dealership here. So cars are sitting on the lot. Let's talk about while they're on the lot and what we do to help get them off the lot. And I'm going to throw up a slide that is right out of a folder that our business development managers, that's our field representatives who call on dealers every day, so the equivalent of a SOM or an AGM on the brand side, if that vernacular is familiar to you. We put a value statement in there. We demonstrate to the dealer, so while you may be paying a premium price, you get exceptional value. Don't we all want that from a provider we buy something from? We want value. So we think we provide really, really good value. So I'm going to show you an excerpt from this folder that we go out and get in front of the dealer every quarter. It's probably not a million miles away from something we all received in the mail in the last month. Did you get anything that was like a total reward statement? Everybody get that? Pie chart, saying it's not just your salary, it's this, this, and this. That's what we go out with our dealers every day or every quarter with as well. It's not just your interest rate. You think about just the interest rate, you're thinking too narrow. Think about just our salary. It's too narrow. It's a much bigger picture that you want to consider when you're evaluating your options. So let's play the feud. Okay. And by the way, you see me look over here often, I see Mr. Rod Tubman. I was going through my career, Rob. I think you and I have crossed paths 20 of those 28 years. So Rob, we're at Audi now and doing lots of things. Preferred dealer reserve. So while the car's on the lot, we have wholesale partnership. A wholesale partner is someone who finances their inventory with us. That's what we call a wholesale partnership. It's a suite of benefits that dealers get when they either just floor plan with us or they floor plan and send us a percentage of their business. So in this case, think of it as dealer commission. So when you go in for a loan or a lease, a dealer, we all see 1.9% advertised. It used to be 0, not anymore. 1.9. So a dealer, depending on what lender you use, can mark that up. And you may or may not know that. Jefferson, this may be new to you. Yes, a dealer can make money on that rate. And it becomes a great profit center for a dealership. So maybe the 1.9, they can present you with a 2.9. Right? Minor difference in payment. And the difference between that 1.9 and that 2.9, that's called markup. If you ever pay attention to the CFPB a couple of years ago, they really honed in on that because there's all sorts of risks if not properly managed, where that can be very, very discretionary, not something anybody wants to be a part of, discretionary pricing and all the things that can happen. But within a range, it can work out. So we stay within that range. But so when a dealer, they sell the car, now you're selling the financing, typically in the F&I office. And if a dealer can mark up that rate, let's say the difference in the rate market equates to a $500 additional income. So when that rate gets marked up, the dealer keeps a share and we keep a share for early terminations and so on. It's not based on the life of the loan. So if you floor plan with us, you get a better piece of that action than if you're a dealer who doesn't. So it doesn't affect the consumer pricing, but it does affect dealer profitability potential for dealers who choose to finance with us. Bit of value there. And that 90-10, so I'm looking right up here, 90-10, that would mean if that markup was $500, a dealer would keep 90% of that, or $450. We'd keep 50, knowing that loan won't go full. Likewise on leases, 80-20, and in addition, just for sending us that lease, wholesale dealers or floor plan dealers, you'll hear me use that term interchangeably, they get $50. It gets funded right in the deal. So those are things, think about it, we just sold a car, and it's a competitive environment, may not make a whole lot of money on the vehicle itself. But now as we continue that transaction with all the potential for great markup, the potential to sell protection services products, that can add to that profitability for a dealer. So while it's on the lot, there's some profitability and reducing expense. We talked about $100 a car for an average Volkswagen sitting on the lot. It's probably about double for an Audi. Audi's probably about $50,000 sitting on the ground. So what we do is, depending on the amount of business a dealer sends us, retail and lease business as a percentage of their total vehicle sales, we will rebate them some of their interest they paid us. Who doesn't like a rebate on your interest, right? Discover's been saying it for 20 years, right? Here's your cash back at 2%, something like that. Who doesn't love that? And that other item, this 60-day brass hat. Anyone, what's a brass hat? Can you give it a shot? Ring a bell? Company car. Excellent. Yeah, it's a company car or a lease return often. It's a young used car that a dealer sources from the factory, generally. They're great. You want a lot full of those because it's a relatively new car with relatively low miles, and you get generally better value than a brand new car. So whenever a dealer, a floor plan dealer, buys a lease return or one of the cars that we drive as a lease car or a company car, whenever they buy that direct from us, when they pay us for that, they don't pay any interest on it for 60 days. So you as a dealer, you like that. If you don't floor plan with us, you're paying interest from day one. And generally it takes about 2 weeks to get that car to your dealership, a week or two. It's got to be in the shop while you're reconditioning it. It finally makes it to the front line. So you burned all kinds of money just before that car is even for sale. So if we think about our appreciation of reality for the dealer, while the car is sitting on the lot during the life of the car, part of its life is just sitting there waiting for an owner, kind of like that puppy in the window, right? When you choose to finance with us, it's going to cost you less as a dealer. Opportunity to make more and cost you less. It's a pretty good combo. Let's keep going.
Does Lindsay give us money back when we drive our cars through that lot?
Does Lindsay give us money?
Yeah.
When we turn a car to the lot? I don't think anybody from CVS here, I think we probably give them some money to, as we should. That's a whole nother line of business for them, Roger. It's, yeah, it's good. They do get first crack at a lot of cars though, so one of the benefits for them, right? They get a great selection. So good on them, we gotta do something. All right, so now the car's been sitting on the lot. Now how do we help get it off the lot? Well, number one, how we help get it off the lot is we facilitate the merchandising programs for the automotive brands. Right, for Audi, Volkswagen, bring those offers to market quickly, comprehensively, systems that support them, make it easy for dealers. But another thing is terms of trade. So new car advance, think of that as loan to value. And the way we peg our loan to value is based on sticker price of the car. If you think about it, you think a lot of cars get transacted at sticker price? Matt, would you pay sticker for the car? No? I don't want you coming up. You can go see. Probably. No. Yeah, very few people pay sticker for the car, yet we're gonna base our loan amount on the sticker price of the car. But wait, there's more. If it's a $25,000 Jetta, we'll go on the best credit 130% of that $25,000, plus any of those insurance products, plus tax, title, and license, plus. So that's very possible that on that $25,000 car, we will advance and give a loan for up to 150% of the value of that vehicle. Of course, when you're a lender, occasionally we have to, we always want to collect our money. And occasionally we have to collect it from people who don't pay us. It's just a part of the business, right? You lend money, you collect money. But you can imagine if you lent a lot more than an asset is worth, that's not smart. But you do it right, you get a lot of experience, we've got millions and millions of originations under our belt, and it helps dealers sell cars. And if there's anything we've learned, anybody who's stepped foot in a dealership, you're driving your car and you tend to get that itch. We see it on average over and over, about 3.5 years. It's time for a new car. And maybe or maybe not, I'm in a position to get out of that car without any cash out of my pocket. And if you still owe more than you the car is worth. Let's call that being upside down. So you look at credit policy and our terms of trade enable a dealer to pull somebody out of the car, roll that, they call it negative equity, into the new loan, and put you in a new car. You can only do that so many cycles, but it helps. So it's part of us trying to help that life of that car, keep it moving on. What else do we have here? Subprime financing. What FICO score is considered subprime? What and below? Below 600.
Below 570.
We're not quite as aggressive. The industry tends to say below 620.
Okay.
So 620 and below, FICO scores range, I think, from 900 down to 350, something like that. But subprime, let's call that people who are the most credit challenged. They still want a car, they still need a car, higher risk, you charge a higher rate, just try to manage your originations that way. But we frequently hear a dealer wants to sell, everybody walks on the lot of car. So our job is to try to help them sell a car to everybody who walks on the lot. And what we found, we're very proud of the statistic, is that for every new Volkswagen, say 100 new Volkswagens get sold and financed to subprime buyers. Let's just start, they bought them, and the dealer somehow found a way to get that buyer financed or leased. 100 of them. 73 out of those 100 refinance. So there's no lender out there supporting new car sales to low qualified buyers like VCI. 73 out of 100. That means the other 27, the other 50 subprime shops out in the industry, they're fighting over those. So we step up. Takeaway there is we step up. Yeah, you get losses. Some of those losses are really big and ugly, but you just figure out a way to do it. We manage a portfolio. You don't manage individual loans, right? You really get spun up when you start looking at each individual loan. That's why we've got 650 people at our service centers doing originations and servicing and collecting and all that stuff. But in the main, we can get 3 out of 4 of those buyers that we finance. I'd say that's a pretty good job of support, and that's our job. It's to drive the profitable, sustainable growth of the VW Group. And this segment of the market, albeit not huge, is still very important to be supported. Last item, and then I think we get to answers and Q&A. E-sign, yeah. Okay, so digitalization. There's lots of things these days that have gone digital, and you do your app, and we've got Rocket Mortgage, and all this stuff you can do on your app. Nobody certainly has figured out how to do a car sale. You can't buy a car from your computer yet. It's coming quick. But we're the only one in the industry besides Mercedes-Benz Financial Services where a customer and a dealer can truly do a transaction end-to-end digitally and have it get fully disclosed, sold, transmitted to VCI with an authoritative copy of a digital contract. Goes through all the encryption and vaults. In fact, it's so authoritative, we can then sell that loan or lease to investors using that same technology. So that's very important. So we originate a loan, we then sell it as a bond. That's how we get our money. We get another life for a car there. But the point is, there's no other lender out there. We've been working on this for 12 years, and we got it. It's available for CDK and Reynolds now. Those are predominant computer systems dealers used. So from a customer point of view, it's quite a modern and efficient way of buying a car. So I can sign on an iPad, or in Reynolds' case, at this sort of computer that's on the desk. It's called the DocuPad. And everything is digital. From a dealer's point of view, you can imagine the paperwork involved in buying a car. And all that paperwork has to get sent to us, get audited, make sure nobody missed anything, so on and so forth. There's lots of signatures and there's residual values and rates and other business rules and title apps and payoffs and all this stuff. And probably 25% of the time, we can't even fund a deal, traditional paper environment, because something's wrong with it. You gotta pick up the phone and say, Mr. Dealer, I can't give you your money. You missed this, and that. And then that's days go by. And for a dealer, days go by. I'm paying more what on that car still sitting in my lot? Interest, et cetera. Do I ever want to bring a customer back to my dealership right after I sold my car? Jenny, no, you don't. I want to come see you. Come see me for your first service. I really don't want to see you before. Then you say, can you come back in and sign this one document? It just doesn't end well, right? You just want to avoid that. But with e-sign, why do I bring that up? Because we found in December, we funded what percent of all deals that we originated in December of this past year were e-sign? Take a guess. 31, you got it. Okay, excellent. Fully a third of the deals. And dealers received their money in an hour. So that we originated that loan, transmitted that money to the dealer, and if they're a wholesale dealer on something we call net fund, they got their money and it automatically paid off the outstanding balance on the loan on their inventory line of credit. Done deal. And really they just get the net profit of it. It's called net fund. Right, so that type of speed, you start thinking of speed of transactions. If you're a dealer, you've got that kind of inventory out there, and that, you're taking in trades, and you got money flying left, right, and center. So speed of cash, that cash to cash cycle, like any business, when you're dealing with $25,000 ticket items as an Audi dealer, $50,000 ticket items, really matters. Imagine if you're Audi Tyson's Corner. Big weekend for them where they do 25 new Audis probably. Just start doing the math. What's 25 times 50? Half of them probably had trades. Need to get paid off. Trades are going to be sitting on. The amount of cash that gets tied up when you do a weekend's worth of business at a lock-in store is crazy. So you need your lender to get you the cash quickly, as well as to make it available to you. And that's what we really try to do. So in the life of a car, when that car is sitting on the lot, not only while it's waiting for a new owner, but on its way out, that is one of the dimensions where we really fit in to the life of a car from a dealer's point of view. And we try to be very, very mindful of that. And every one of the things that I mentioned to you is beneficial to our brands as well. Because a dealer is making more money or has lower expenses, they're more profitable. If you're more profitable, the brand is more valuable. You're willing to invest. It's a huge cycle. You want to invest, you put your money on a winning brand. If you're making money, it's a winning brand. So these are different things. Roger?
What's limiting the 30% for hardware?
What's limiting the 30%? It is all the above. So dealers have to invest in the technology to use it. And it's a relatively new technology. So Reynolds is far ahead in the availability. CDK is far ahead. DocuPad takes a bigger investment by Reynolds dealers. Those two DMSs or dealer management systems, about 75% of the network is on those two. And then it gets pretty fragmented, the providers. So part of it's limited by availability, although that's rapidly changing. And part of it's limited by the fragmentation of available sort of technology the dealer chooses. So, but we'll get there. This year we think we get to 50%. So we're ready to answer some trivia questions, and then I'll take any other questions. Remember, Katie, how many active consumer loan and leases we have? Yeah. No, you know, Jenny. VCI people. Come on. 1.2 million. Yes, and $33 billion outstanding. What's $33 billion between friends? Nothing. All right. Cool. What's the next one? How many employees does VCI have? 630. Too low. 650. Still way too low. 1,000. Katie, you're getting there, but you're still too low. Way too high, Roger. Good try. 1,500. Diana, you're even VCI, and come on, but I like the way you're off. We have growth plans to get there. We call that close. 1276. Good job. Yeah. And many people don't know you've got. We tend to say our Chicago service center. It's actually in Libertyville. Might as well be Wisconsin, right? 10 miles south of the Wisconsin border. But we've got 650 people full-time employed in Libertyville, Illinois. We've been in that facility since 1999. We've been up in Deerfield and Waukegan up there since even earlier in the 90s. But so we've got a huge presence up there in the northern suburbs of Chicago. We've got another 250 people in Portland, Oregon, in Hillsboro, just west of the city. Magnificent out there, full-time employed. And even Auburn Hills, there's still 150 VCI employees up in Auburn Hills, together with, I think, roughly 1,000 group employees doing all the other things there. So really good footprint as you look at your career, or how you want to develop it, do different things. And we've got about 70 people in our field who call on dealers out there. All right, so how many VW and Audi dealers finance their inventory with us? What's that? 850. Well, we have about 950 dealers. How many of them finance? We don't finance all of them yet.
640.
What's that?
640.
640. 495. Close enough. How many- All right. Maybe once you add the second one, this. All right. How many Ducati dealers are in the United States? 10. There's 123. It's not on here. How many bikes did Ducati sell last year, Brandon?
10,000.
About 8,000. Yeah, about 8,000. Aspirations were for 10, so. Yeah, but okay, this one's for the money. How many of those 123 Ducati dealers do we finance their inventory? Who said 123? There we go. Good answer. It's almost. I think we're about 98% of them. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. That business, that power sports business, we've learned a lot about. We continue to learn a lot about, but they tend to have single providers. If you're an automotive dealer, you got lots of banks willing to lend you money in finance your inventory. If you're in the power sports business, where you're also selling, snow blowers and Arctic cats and Sea-Doos and I think pool tables a little bit sometimes, foosball tables, yeah, you tend to have a dedicated provider. All right, and last one, what year was VCI established? 1981, excellent. Cool, good answer. All right, that's all I got. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. Yes?
You said there were about 8,000 Ducatis sold last year.
8,000 Ducatis sold.
Is that a growth? I'm curious. I don't know how many have been sold the previous years. Is it going up, trending upward, I guess?
Ducati business is flat. Motorcycle business is down, about 5%. That market has shrunk. They were selling 10,000 a year for the first couple of years. Had a pop at the Scrambler, which is a lower priced motorcycle. They've settled about 8,000 in the last 2 years. They'd love to hold it flat again this year. But that industry is contracting, that segment is contracting. Yes?
Why don't you finance like the luxury brands?
Why don't we finance the luxury brands?
Yeah.
So we used to have Bentley Financial Services was part of VW Credit, and when the group did its acquisition of Porsche, worldwide, Porsche, we basically transferred that Bentley business over to Porsche Financial Services, and so Porsche does Bentley, Lamborghini. I don't know if they do the odd Ducati now and again, but really the super luxury and luxury is the decision made, I think it was in 2013, 12-ish, that they would handle all the originations and servicing for the luxury brands. True. Yes?
Would you subprime loan program? What percentage of people follow through?
The subprime loan program, how many follow through on their commitment? I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you that as we build our pricing, right, what's the interest rate, for example, going to be for a loan for a subprime borrower? We put in there an assumption of what our credit losses are going to be. And I think when you get to tier 8, which is 600 and below, our lowest sort of category, it's nearly 20%. It's like 16 to 19% from memory that we assume if someone borrows $10,000 from us, we're going to assume that every single subprime borrower that we loan $10,000 to, we're going to lose, we have to reserve, roughly $2,000 for it. So it's about a 1 in 5, I guess we'd say, default rate or severity rate on that segment of the business. It's a fairly small segment of the business, but when you get hit pretty hard. You just got to do your collection strategies around those realities, your pricing strategies, and then you spread it throughout the portfolio so you can just manage it. Rob,
Patrick, how's the business going to get from 31 to 50% this year?
how are we going to grow e-sign from 31 to 50%? Combination of things, carrots and sticks. So we're gonna put some carrots out there. We're gonna help dealers with their capital investment. So we mostly for Reynolds and CDK dealers, we'll offer them an incentive of up to $3,000 just from VCI to adopt that technology quicker. Because think about not only the dealer gets their money quicker, but we're more efficient in processing those originations. So we can save some money too at scale. And stick-wise, we are considering to encourage dealers along the adoption path, potentially bringing a handling fee in the first of the year that if you have the capability to adopt this technology, but you choose not to, then there'll be maybe a per deal fee that we'll assess, which you start doing enough deals, it may encourage a second look. But through the rest of the year, we definitely want to incent you, bring you along, show you all the benefits of adopting this technology. And if you choose not to, you've made a choice and it's going to cost a little money because we need to design our processes to be more efficient. If we're more efficient, our costs are lower. If our costs are lower, our interest rates can go lower, and ultimately that's less money that the brands pay to get a merchandise rate in the market. So let's face it, all of our costs will eventually become organizational costs. So our drive to efficiency is pretty high. Most financial services organizations will see that.
Here, Patrick.
Or yes, sir.
With the dealers that adopted that process, have you seen any uptick in performance at all with that?
So for the dealers who have adopted e-sign, uptick in performance, how would you define performance?
I guess more from the sales side, I'd be curious to know if they're able to if they have any increase in sales or I guess
Got it. Sales, I think it would be tough. So we haven't seen any. I don't know how we would discern an uptick in sales. We do plan though on when the SSI results from J.D. Power come out this year. We typically the brands get that data by VIN, and if we're able to take the sales satisfaction data by VIN, match it up against deals that were originated using e-sign during that measurement period, we're going to try to discern, working with in the brands, the various customer experience departments, is there a difference? Were customers more satisfied when they originated through this fully digital process versus not? That's probably our best, and that would be a huge bonus if it is. It should be less time in the F&I office. The transaction should be smoother and faster for the dealer and for the customer. But that's not until those results don't come out until November. I think. Well, the measurement periods for April, May registrations. So yeah, so later this year we'll be able to do that analysis. Good questions. All right.
I've actually got one if anyone else does.
Bring it.
At the beginning of the presentation, you were talking about the types of retail loans. You had balloon payments in there. What's the kind of strategy behind those loans and why are they really only used for motorcycles and power sports?
Let's see. So leasing and traditional retail installment, that's our bulk of our business. Balloons on the automotive side, we've had around, we still have them around in 5 states. It's a very, very small portion of our business. And we brought those in because a balloon on the automotive side was sort of a lease surrogate that could work around individual tax laws locally. So some localities, the city of Chicago remains to this day, the taxation on a lease is crazy. Therefore, when you do a balloon loan, at least with what we call it, Audi, I should know this by now. Premier purchase for Audi and the VW name is so low. What's that? Driver's option banking system for saving me there. Yeah, it's a retail loan that has a clause on it or addendum that makes it look and act like a lease at the end, so you can avoid those the punitive taxation. But the number of states that actually do that has really shrunk over time. To your question, why on motorcycles only? So we just introduced this product 2 years ago, a true balloon. So it's on a retail installment contract, says make 35 payments of $200 a month and your last one of 10 grand. And that 10 grand is not something you can walk away from like a lease, like our auto balloon. You've got to pay it. We just modeled it after, honestly, a BMW program. They've got something called BMW 3Z Ride. The guys at Ducati said that if we can have a financing product, our motorcycles compete head-to-head with BMW's product line. Therefore, if we can have a financing tool that competes likewise head-to-head, that'll make us that much more competitive with our facing competitor. So still, it represents, at its height, it's only been about 7% of our originations. Ducati would like to get that to probably 12 to 15. It should be a good retention tool as well, because you've got to do something at balloon time. Trade it in, you'll buy it out. Hopefully, you don't buy it out, trade it in. The idea is to keep the cycle going. Cycle, no pun intended. What do you think? We good? Thanks for sharing 40 minutes of your day with me.